Welcome to Mile High Reefers. I'm Scott Anderson, and today we're going to do another reef tank update on the 210-gallon reef. So there's been a lot of stuff going on, but not a ton with the tank. And that's why we haven't been doing a lot of videos lately. Tank's not in a great place, but today we're going to keep it real and show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Also, there's other aquarium stuff going on behind the scenes that I am not able to talk about. Yeah, it's been eating up some of my time, but it's all good stuff. So hopefully you'll see some of that coming soon. So life is fun, life is crazy, but the tank, it's still here and it's looking pretty good. So if you remember, I don't know, 6 months ago or so, I put a ton of fresh water to the tank. Then about 4 months ago, I put a ton of fresh water in the tank and basically crashed it twice. All right, well, the reason I didn't have an auto top off on this tank was I had an old float style fail on me multiple times in the past. They get that mineral accretion on there, they'd fail. So I didn't really like them, and I didn't really trust the electronic ones any more than the mechanical ones. Yes, they're better, but I have trust issues when it comes to stuff like that. But I have finally fixed it. I've got a old school mechanical float valve tied to this. It's ran up to the tank so I can have 30 gallons of fresh water ready to go. Close the valve so we're not feeding RO continuously to it. So worst case now, all I can send is 30 gallons of fresh to this tank, and at 450 gallons, that's not even that big of a deal. And when I say 450, I'm talking display, which is 210, filtration, frag tanks, downstairs. So we're talking recovery. So now let's take a look at the tank. So usually I film these kind of midday. Halides are on now, but I know you guys love your blues. So let's make today a blue day. I'm gonna turn the halides off and we'll come back. So here it is. This is halides off. I got the blues cranked up. It's got my T5s on still. So it's not crazy blue, but this is kind of what it looks like most days when I come home from work. And I love this look. I got the halides on during the day, so I get that different look. But when I get home, I get the bluer look and it looks fantastic. And from here, the tank looks great, but we got a few problems. The biggest problem is there's a lot of algae in this tank. I've been going around with the toothbrush, scrubbing it, but we're gonna see quite a bit. It's kind of everywhere. It's super annoying, and this is directly related to the die-off from all of that water. Now, I didn't lose coral, but I sure lost a lot of microfauna and all kinds of stuff I wasn't planning on, and you can just see how much algae there is. Yeah, it's pretty unbearable. Doesn't inspire me to make videos. But if there's one thing I feel like I do a good job in this channel, it's keeping it real. Like, I treat this system like an ecosystem, and that's how I'm doing it right now. The algae's here, we're gonna fix the ecosystem, and it'll go away. Nothing good is gonna happen fast in this tank. So we're gonna take our time and get it right. Along with problems, my Heronwensis, which used to live right here, it's one of those really hard to find cool corals. Got it from Jake. It just disappeared. I can't find it. I can only imagine something carried it off. And my little Acra that used to live up here fell into the bubble and was immediately killed. Annoying, but probably a result of the algae. Why would algae do that? Well, it's hard to glue to algae. Stuff doesn't stick to algae very well, and probably the algae grew and kind of pushed it off. Yeah, I'm blaming algae. But yeah, it's all my fault. I run the tank. So there's the bad. Okay, it's not that bad. I lost 2 corals. They were really cool corals. But overall, I'm gonna say this tank is rocking it. The algae's bad, but the coral health is doing incredible. So let's talk about coral right after we talk about fish. Look at those fish. I haven't lost a fish up in this tank in well over a year. They're fat, they're healthy. The little bit of aggression issue I was having between the blue tank and the powdered brown's gone away. The flamingo's growth has seemed to slow down. He's a bit fat, but he's developing those streamers. Things are going really well with the fish. I'm super happy about it. This is kind of exactly what I want in a reef tank, fish-wise. Fish-wise, I have my dream tank. Now let's move on to the soft coral, and really we're talking about the sarcophagsins in this section here. This section's really doing well. You'll notice the biggest thing that's happened is I fragged my Fiji long tentacle. I love this coral. I just cut the edge off. Next, we'll cut this guy. Originally, I was thinking I'd pull this coral off the rock, and I decided best thing to do for the coral was to just start cutting it. I have found a new way to mount these. So far, it's working amazingly. I'm not ready to make that public yet, but hopefully soon I have cracked the code to mounting leathers. This one here is kind of a long tentacle. My clown swims between it and a couple of the others, but it's doing really great and I'm loving the color we're getting out of it. So the base is kind of pinkish. We've got the green stalks and the pink tips. This is really becoming one of my favorite leathers. It's so cool. You don't see many with pink tips, green stems, and a pink base. Pretty cool leather. Over here, everything's kind of growing together nicely, not really a big deal. Kaleidoscope settling in. It's weird because on this side of the tank, where it's at, it doesn't have near the color it did on the other side of the tank. But it looks good, it's healthy, and I love that. Coral, the big giant one, well, it's so big it needs fragged again. I love that coral. So after we frag the devil's hand, we're gonna have to frag the long tentacle. As you can see, it's covering up my big giant clam. This clam is so huge these days, and it's doing so good. The clams swim inside it, they live inside it. So far, they're coexisting with this overgrowth. The clam seems fine with it, but I'm not gonna risk my big clam to it, so that has to happen. But it looks so good. Look how fat and open it is. This is a 210-gallon tank, and it's, what, 70% filled by a clam and a coral? Oh, and look at the big green bubble. Remember last time we looked at it, I was worried that it was gonna recede and have problems. Not anymore. It's doing fantastic. I'm so happy. I love this coral, and I've got more pieces of it. We'll show you in a minute. In the back there is the Japanese pink Nephthia and Goniopora. Goniopora is one of those corals that used to be unkeepable, and these days I just consider it easy. This is the one I got from Will for free like 6 months ago, and it just grows and thrives, and it's so bright. I love it. The Japanese pink Nephthia probably needs to move. It's getting overgrown. I tried cutting a piece off the other day, and it came off the frag plug. Of course it did. That's what leathers do. My zoas at the top of the tank on the overflow are doing amazing. They've grown to the top, they're mixing in nicely, and what's crazy is how long the stocks have gotten on the utter chaos. It is chaos how long they've gotten. But yeah, they will totally adapt to reach out and get to the light. Speaking of big polyps, the Paligrandis are looking fantastic. Behind the Grandis is blushing leather. This is like a Sinularia that's this really deep red. It is gorgeous. And above it is a devil's hand. Oh, thank you, focus. That devil's hand has the green polyps, kind of that brownish base. Really cool devil's hand, and it's thriving right where it's at. And then my other devil's hand is this green devil's hand. It's got more of that green skin base to it, and it's doing really well right there. Now let's take a minute and talk about the SPS section. So I've kind of cut the Monties back quite a bit a while ago. I think you guys probably saw that but it's really going pretty well for my entire Monipora section. So, Atlantis pink tip, I love these ridges. They keep growing, looking good. Setosa, fantastic. I love the way the pink tip's growing into it. And then we've got some grafted stuff from Worldwide Corals that's doing fantastic. Like, I love Monis. They're my favorite SPS, and I've got a bunch in here, and they're just thriving. On the top and the back is a nice chunk of Spongoda. Spongoda is an amazing Moni. It gets this kind of weird, encrusting, but branchy look to it. Super cheap, easy Moni. I highly recommend these to just about anybody who wants easy SPS. But if you want easy SPS, nothing beats cactus coral or this green pavona. This is a piece I got from Animal Attractions like 6, 7, 8 years ago. I don't remember. I've had it forever. And it just grows. It's been through every tank crash I've ever had, and it's never had a problem. This is a easy SPS that's so underrated. My little Favia garden I created at the top of the tank is doing pretty well, other than the fact that the algae loves to grow here. I keep coming in with a toothbrush and cleaning it all up, but it just doesn't really work. But the combination of high light and high flow has proved perfect for these pieces. Last but not least is my little acro garden slash Moni garden. Got a couple little acros. We got some green slimer. We've got some immortal tort in there. Really cool stuff. Check out what's going on here with this Seriatopora. It's like a piece fell off or broke off, but didn't completely break. And like the skin is stretched out a long ways. Not sure what's going on there, but it looks really cool. I'm interested to see what happens. I'm not gonna take it out, we're just gonna watch it. My torches continue to thrive, so we've got Aussie Gold on the right. On the left is some Dragon Soul Holy Grail. The thing I hate about the Dragon Soul Holy Grail is it's really hard to get the gold streaks on camera. They just don't show up unless the blues are really out, and that just does not work with the camera. Might have to get a gel filter to show off that one's total beauty. And then we've just got some cool different colored green ones right in the center that are thriving. The rest of the Euphyllia section's doing really well. I mean, everything's starting to look pretty fat, happy, healthy. I've got this green frog in here that's so full, I should probably frag some heads out of it. The gold hammer next to it is looking super special. I mean, look at that gold frog there. Like, everything here is just fat, happy, healthy. It's what you want. Since I fragged this Monipora above my Sinarinas, they've started to lose color. There is not a lot of light there, but these guys, they don't love that much light. I'm gonna let it ride for the time being, but we may have to move them. This section here, it has a lot of algae, but the coral around it look great. The worst one is the Uluphilia. It's had this white like film, like a bacteria on it for years. And that is mostly gone. It's receded a little, the algae's here, but you know what? This coral is much improved. It's happy, it's healthy, and it's just got a little bit of that white left. This here is a piece of chalice. I put it here as a little frag. It just slowly grows, but I love the color on it. Right here is Crazy Team Monipora. It's more orange than yellow, but hey, it looks great. We've got this weird little, who knows what that is, and it grows great. I love it. It's fast growing. It hasn't been fast growing, so it's been perfect for this spot. This Favia behind it, it's kind of that green purple color, and it just thrives there. Next to it is my Blastomusa. This Blasto, it's getting fat, it's healthy, it's a slow growing coral. This has been a good spot for it, but it's getting big enough, it's grown into its neighbors. Yeah, now you can see it, now that the Flamingo's out of the way. It's grown into its neighbors, so you can see it's grown into the branching Cephastria and the Micromusa next to it. Right now, they're not really hurting each other. If I start seeing some burning, then I'll address the problem. My box coral that I moved over to the corner of the tank is thriving here. Love that coral. And then there's my Acanthophilias off in the corner. Acanthophilias cyanarinas, they really do love lower light. These guys are thriving right here. This is the best color they've ever had. They're looking great. So these guys are some of my favorite corals. I just wish they didn't have to be kind of in this back corner where the algae's building up, because I can't even get back here to really work. Last but certainly not least is my bubble section. I love this. I've started creating this wall of bubbles in here, and it looks cool. I've got room to add a couple more, which I will. You can see the really bright green ones. Those are the frags off of my big green bubbles. If you missed that video, you should watch it. The rest of these are Indo and Aussie. So these are Indo and that one's Aussie. Fantastic. I love bubbles. One of my favorites. And doing them on this wall in this kind of medium light area is working out great for me. My tank's kind of in a weird spot. It looks amazing like this. But you get up close, you see the algae. I've lost a couple corals for stupid reasons. But the coral really do look healthy. But the algae has to go away, and we've kind of discussed that I'm treating this like an ecosystem. And as you can see by the way the corals responded, the tank is doing great. All I have to do now to get this tank where I want it is just do good things, make sure bad things don't happen to this tank, and it will get there. So, come back for the next episode of Mile High Reefers, and let's see if I can achieve that goal. As of today, other than some algae and stupid stuff that's happened, this tank's killing it. My coral's super healthy, and I'm really happy about that. So like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.